shift the chairs just a little bit this way? Can you shift the chairs just a little bit this way?
Oh, yeah, sure. So that last one we watched was Out Express. And you experienced that night 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us, I guess, how you met these people and how this all?
Yeah, I guess that's a good place to start.
And where you started with. This was your first camera that you.
Yeah, it was my first camera, and actually one of the guys stuffing the diaper into the guy's pants gave me the camera. I gave him 2 Cosby sweaters for it. So there were definitely some non-minors involved, but probably an even mix of people, underage and not underage. It was just some of these high school kids, mainly the brothers, the dark-haired guy with the crazy hair, and then the other guy that was doing a lot of the fighting. They would come up to college parties where I was going to school at this small school in Murray, Kentucky, Murray State University. So they just showed up. And then one of the other kids, the skinny kid with the long hair that was doing a little bit of the fighting as well, he, I don't know exactly, I probably was going to this town in Tennessee to get some weed or something like that. I'm thinking that's probably the story. And then Craig, the guy with the long hair, that was his name, he was like, well, I gotta make a pit stop and fuck this girl. So I'm just gonna drop you off at this house. And you're just gonna hang out until I want to be done with this situation. So I was there for probably 3 hours, and everybody was just robo-tripping and eating Velveeta with A1 steak sauce on it. And that was my introduction. I had gotten the camera, and then it was just, I just started, they were coming to college parties, but then I just started going to high school parties. So I never did high school parties. I was from a very strict Southern Baptist background, didn't touch a drug till I was 18. So in some respects, this was like me living the high school years I never had or something, for better or worse, obviously. So I would go there a lot with the camera, but I would also go there a lot without it. And so it just got to the point where, of course, also with all the drugs and alcohol, where the camera just kind of blended into the background, and people just weren't aware of it. I wasn't even aware of it half the time, maybe when I was shooting, but so that's, I guess, the beginning of that story,
What does it feel like watching it 20 years later?
I've only shown this publicly twice before tonight. The last time was in Tbilisi, Georgia last year. And I told them, the guys at the gallery, I said, I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for making this, because this really was just my gateway into just being an observer and being, I guess just, dropping that hit of acid in a sense, and just for going into it, in a sense. So it feels like how everything started to open up, creatively for me.
Yeah, creatively.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Can you talk about, so all these, you seem to like to talk about the cameras that you're shooting with a lot. On older video cameras. This one, I guess in your zine here, you have a list in the back of all the different video cameras that you were shooting on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the best cameras that were like available at that time.
Yeah.
But like, you always seem to gravitate towards something with a lot of like texture, and like the first piece that we watched tonight, Title 57. I think you were like shining a flashlight into the camera, and it was like the green and purples. You told me that camera was like basically broken and dying.
It was done. It did not come on after that was shot, and the only way I got anything to even have a picture was with that flashlight. That's why the flashlight's in it, because if I didn't have the flashlight, it was just black. But then I was just kind of experimenting, going, okay, well, if I just shine a light, maybe something will happen here, you know. And then it did. So, but yeah, I guess the motivation. I mean, with the camera with Apple Express, other than the fact that it was free and I didn't have any money, was that the digital technology, the mini DV technology at the time, I'm sure with the right lenses and things you could get a good depth of field, but I just was not impressed with the depth of field available with most digital video cameras, and this one was just free, and I could do a lot more of that depth of field stuff.
And it had like the kind of like damaged banding like on the edges of the frame too. That were kind of like, it feels like we're peeking through the lens of the camera. Like we're not even like seeing through the lens. We're like somewhere back, recessed in the camera, like getting this little peep into this moment in time. It's like, Apple Express is, that all took place over one night. Was it, or was it a combination?
No.
Okay.
I mean, that would be cool to say that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. There were early edits that had daytime stuff that would have probably like broken it up and made that more apparent.
Yeah.
But with some suggestions from people, I cut all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it works better.
I like it all existing in this kind of nighttime.
Yeah.
It's a really like, the film has so many moments that are like hilarious and fun, but then also really dark as well, and like sad at times. Part of me wants to ask, where are they now? Like, are you still in touch with any of them?
Yeah. I mean, there was a main core group that the house belonged to, and that was the girl Courtney, the youngest girl, who's in some of the bathroom scenes and a few other scenes, and then Daniel with the kind of the lighter hair that was doing some of the fighting, the crazy hair, and then his brother Timothy, or TT, or Titty, with the darker hair. So they were the family, and I have not spoken to any of them recently, but I know Timothy in particular is doing really well. I think he might actually be like an engineer now or something in Colorado. Daniel, I think he could still be in Paris, or I don't think he's there. But Courtney is, as far as I know, she's there because she got pregnant probably like a year after this was shot, and then I think she's had two children after that, so 3 altogether. And I have run into her a few times when I go back to Paris, Tennessee, where this was shot, and I mean, she's doing all right. She's doing okay. So I guess everybody else, the periphery, I don't know as much about some of those other people. I'm only certain that one person died, and that was the roadie dude with the leather jacket and all of that. I think he overdosed probably like a decade ago or something. Yeah. But other than that, everybody's doing okay.
Like all of these pieces that we watched tonight, like feel so of the time that they were shot.
Yeah.
Like, I know when I found some of your earlier videos, like on YouTube back in the day, there was like there was like a playfulness in the way you edit, which I think some of it was probably in-camera editing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That like felt like what I was doing at the time with like my camera. Just like I don't know if we had a phone call a few weeks back, and I wrote something down during that phone call, but I don't know if you said this or if I wrote this. So I'm gonna read it, and maybe you could tell me this is not you or this was me. I'm not sure. I wrote, these videos really encapsulate that era. I had a similar preoccupation to discursive like ambiguities and insinuations in my young, developing queer teenage mind, was constantly subtracting enough to defy evidence, but leaving enough to like insinuate like ideas, to intrigue, to confuse, but to leave a trail of breadcrumbs, of queering the arena in an unexpected and surprising way. Is that you or me?
I think you.
Okay.
Sure.
So this was, I guess, kind of just things that I gleaned from your work and like, that I kind of like, connects to in the way that you are using the camera and editing moments that are like, we get these little fragments of, and we don't get the whole context or the whole conversation, but we get enough to understand what's going on. But it also feels like your presence behind the camera as a young queer person at this time, like you're like looking for something or trying to find things in these moments, like with the camera in a way.
In some ways, I think I was like, well, I just want to try to, get good at cinematography, like, and these people are interesting, and then I can just kind of, sharpen my skills, in a way. So I was very aware of that. With most of it, obviously, at some point, I think somebody else obviously took the camera. I think that happened,
Was that you, like, dancing at the very end of it? Yeah. That's what I thought. You're the sitcom, the new sitcom. That was the last week, this week. Can you talk about like that moment in time when you filmed that? You kind of mentioned to me where you were in life, like at that, in those couple of years that you were filming.
Well, I guess that was part of the trouble that I guess I had meant to talk to you about. I think I talked to you on the first DUI, but by the time this new sitcom had happened, I had just gotten out of jail for a month on the second DUI, and then I was just like really like, okay, what the fuck am I doing? I'm stuck in this place for at least 2 years, and I got to figure out something to do. And that was the beginning of it. And then, of course, my love for just the painterly aspects of the VHS, I wanted to keep moving in that direction, but then we weren't at the smartphone era yet, but the flip phone stuff had started doing its thing, and the laptop camera stuff, and there is definitely a decent amount of high 8 in there as well, but I really especially love the flip phone stuff, just how strangely painterly it was, and just you really had to edit that down, and then you had to also be so conscious of holding on to it. Like I had to, I think at the beginning of it, I didn't even know what Bluetooth was, so I was just spending crazy amounts of money, like emailing the files to myself, just to hold on to them. And then finally Bluetooth happened and I was able to do that. but yeah, I just I guess as the sitcom progressed, one thing I was always a little OCD about was at least using 3 cameras in each episode to kind of find a different sliver of reality with each camera.
And sometimes a still camera as well.
Yeah, sometimes a still camera.
Maybe there was cell phone
there was.
There was.
Yeah, my General Electric, my $40 General Electric digital camera. Yeah.
I wonder how many megapixels that was. In that piece, there was another short that we considered including tonight, but didn't, which was the how to make a large scale sculpture.
Yeah.
That I felt like the new sitcom kind of showed a little bit of your like collage and painting process in some of that. That you still to this day like you are an artist doing collage work and sculpture work. You also told me that this you screened the new sitcom at it's screened in a gallery?
Yeah, it first was shown at PPOW in 2011. That was my first show in New York. And then I've shown it a few places. There was this place in Bushwick called Interstate. It was around for about a decade, and I showed it a few times there with them. And then it's just kind of, I did it for 3 years, and I guess I haven't really shown it in this particular way ever, honestly. It's always been more of like in a gallery on a little monitor, or like in an installation piece, or the only other place was Facebook. I would just put it on Facebook. That's how I originally released it. But I was very OCD about that too. It was literally like a show. So every Monday for 25 weeks for 3 years, I would release it, and I would just add a minute to it every year. And then I just kind of gave up and went on to something else,
Can you talk about Yoko made you do it?
Yeah. Well, first I'll put on the record, I fucked around a little bit with Alex Jones in 2008. Okay, a long time ago. Not a fan now. So just get that cleared up. I got into conspiracy, through like an old hippie friend, I guess that I would probably was buying weed from or something like that, or smoking weed with or something, and it was just so insane. I mean, these things are just total works of art, no matter what they are. And of course, they do horrible things and cause horrible problems, but.
The Georgia Guidestones.
Sorry.
What causes horrible problems?
Because a lot of conspiracies, But in that case, I didn't actually know what is the real backstory to that. Supposedly, is that it was 10 new world commandments in case there was a nuclear winter, and those stones would supposedly survive it, and then you could come find them and go, oh, okay, this is how we rebuild humanity. So I don't know. But from the Alex Jones direction of things, he did make a movie that kind of put it as like Illuminati commandments to kind of destroy most of the population of the world and all this kind of stuff. But then on the other side of it, Yoko Ono did actually write a song just using the commandments from these stones. And so I'm assuming that was probably from the more like nuclear, anti-nuclear war aspect of it.
It was John Cage and Yoko.
It was a John Cage tribute album from like 1993. So it was just a fascinating place, and I just happened to be in Atlanta. I can't remember why, but anyway, I forced my friends to go take the 2-hour drive north to this place and just see it. And then just kind of I didn't know really how I felt. I I mean, I don't think I was ever fully invested in all the conspiracy stuff, but I thought just doing something ridiculous and in the form of a performance piece would be, you know, maybe they did need some love or something, you know. So that was the best thing I could do. But I guess I didn't give them enough love because they did end up getting destroyed about 2 years ago. They're no longer there. So, yeah.
You mentioned they're also in Sherman's Way.
Sherman's March by Ross McElwee. There's like a small scene where they go to the Georgia Guidestones, and they've only been up for like a year when that movie was made, which is pretty crazy.
I love the guy that's like also there taking pictures of it, and how when you're doing your performance, he's just like popping in and out of the background. Like, I remember that.
Funny thing, he actually was part of January 6th.
No surprises there. No surprises there. Can you talk about the title of this program tonight?
Okay, yeah.
Where did it come from? Yeah.
It's from an interview with Hank Williams Jr. on Fox and Friends from 2011.
Which is also the title of the zine, The Country This Shape Is In.
Yeah, so it's a little slip up. He did correct himself, but he was just furious, I guess, at the time with Obama and whoever the Speaker of the House was at the time, who I guess was a Republican. I can't remember who that was. Maybe it was that Ryan something or other. I can't remember. But anyway, he just couldn't get out of his head. He was so upset that they would be playing golf together. Mm-hmm. So right before he said that, he made the analogy that just a Republican and a Democrat working together or playing golf together would be like Hitler playing golf with Netanyahu. And then he said, the shape this country is in. Or the country this shape is in. Yes. But yes, being from a very, very red state, I think one of only two that the under 30 population has always voted for Trump. And then being very blue in New York now, I'm just very much in both arenas, very, very plugged in to many things. We'll just say that.
One of the films tonight that I haven't really talked to you about is the Paducah's Son.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you want to just
talk
about the man that was in that?
Yeah. It was. So I was a cashier at my hometown hospital cafeteria for a few years. After my second DUI, and I moved it back in with my dad for a little while and tried to get things sorted out. And so I would actually read the hometown paper, and Glad Man Humbles was his name. He wrote that eulogy, and it actually, I think, was probably on the front page of the paper because it's a small town. But then he would visit the hospital a lot and come through my line, and I just said, I'm a filmmaker, and could I come to your house and shoot? And he was like, cool. So that's how that got made. And yeah, it's his story I could have definitely done a lot more with, because he was the first black firefighter in my hometown. He was hired in like 1963. But, and I guess the bigger story is, of course, the relationship that he had with the fire chief, which is what he was talking about. But yeah, just a really eccentric, interesting guy that I just wanted to paint a small portrait of. Yeah.
You mentioned the cafeteria job. You also told me the other night how you met somebody there who came to the screening of Apple Express.
Yeah. The only other time it's been shown in the United States, in 2013. And yes, I guess I had to take time off from work, and people in the cafeteria were like, oh, these guys show in New York and all this. And then there was some like comic book artist in like radiology or something that came through the line. He was like, "Oh, you're having a screening in New York? Well, I'm actually having my honeymoon there that same weekend." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." It's like, "Well, I we'll come to the thing." And I'm like, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe not a good idea. But I had to be really polite. Say, "Oh, no. It might be a little too much for you all." But yes, they walked out, and then like the next week he's like coming through my line, and he just is like giving me a death stare, like I just violated him or something. Well, I tried,
The Untitled Church performance.
Yeah.
I think we should touch on that.
Oh,
I meant to mention something about it before
Yeah.
the screen, but it was the 2-minute short that played right before Apple Express that you shot in Georgia a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about your collaboration?
I guess I met this anonymous queer performance artist in Tbilisi after screening another one of my films, a feature called Confederitis, and we stayed in touch, and I've gone back last few years and stayed with him. And I don't even know how much planning was involved. There probably was more planning, but the language barrier is pretty difficult. So we're just like, okay, we're gonna go to this. He's just like, we're gonna go to this church now and bring your camera. And I'm like, okay. But yes, I've definitely been very interested in the sovereignty of a small country and what it has to go through to maintain its identity and things like that, but also in the case of Georgia, just its quasi-theocratic nature, which is really something I can relate to being from Kentucky. Obviously not as extreme as Georgia, but I think it's definitely motivated me to continue to have a relationship there and be kind of fascinated with the small queer community that's there, which some way I will be making a feature film partially there that will explore a lot more of these themes. So that was just kind of a little taste there, Yeah.
I want to open it up to any thoughts, questions to
the Apple Express that you the last film.
Yeah.
You said that was your first.
Yeah.
And did you go with the intention of doing this? And did you share that intention with anyone? Or?
Yeah. I always made it known that I didn't want it all over the place. Nobody ever signed a model release form or something, but I did say, this is going to be kind of an art gallery thing or a small venue thing. I mean, it was weird even, I guess we wouldn't have even had the discussion if it went on the internet, because it wouldn't have even been comprehensible at that time. I think people were just, there was definitely some apprehension with a few people. But I guess I've just always, and that's one reason I've always been really territorial and kind of protective of it in a way. But now it's 20 years, and now I'm kind of wanting to give it its 20-year tour as carefully and respectfully as I can do that. But yeah, I guess that's sort of the answer.
You got something.
I will say, just like, it made me think of two things. It made me think of like climax and like, have you ever? I feel like Skinamarink. That weird found footage, but it's just like it's about being in hell, and it's like you're out of place. These are things that I recognize. Like those type of people that like being from the South and being like, and it's just like being trapped in this thing and knowing that you did it multiple days, but it just feels like one everlasting thing where it's just like you're trapped in this kind of like literally like Robitussin haze of like there's like something lost in like you're in like Dante's Inferno of like never ending like semi hell, and it just keeps getting darker, and you become culpable at
Yeah.
the end.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, this guy's like, I was like, no, here. I think it's important that you got in there, because it's like, at first you're like just observing, but then it's like, you know, like, you gotta be honest.
It was
or, like,
inevitable.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it was inevitable, yeah.
But it was very fun to watch, but also dark and disturbing. All the things that you want to watch something.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to say with respect to the monument, I'm so happy that you mentioned Sherman's Park, because I was like, where, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I know I've seen this before.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it wasn't there anymore. And I guess my question is now, you know, you live in New York now.
Yeah.
Where do you find, like, sort of, you're inspired to play camera these days?
Well, it's been really difficult. I mean, obviously most of this stuff is like pre-smartphone. And I will say, like, you know, the spontaneity that I had before everybody was making little videos is kind of not completely there anymore. So now, like, for the first time, I've actually written a feature-length screenplay completely. So that was kind of crazy. So yeah, I guess in the future, I'm just much more focused on actually doing something that's sort of a narrative, or at least starting off with a narrative and then kind of still playing around with the editing once I get that in there. So yeah, that, and then yeah, I was really scared to shoot in New York at all. I feel like, you know, you have to be there a while, and now I've been there for a decade, so I feel kind of comfortable. So there'll be some stuff that will be shot there, but then hopefully if it all goes to plan, I'll be shooting, I'll be shooting in Tennessee next month, some stuff for the new film. And then hopefully I will go to Cuba at some point, and then I'm going to go hopefully back to Georgia to shoot some things as well, and then put them all together. So that's the plan. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's it.
Anyone else? Anything else? Thanks for coming, Paul. Cool. Thank you, Robert.